The Global Conservation Corps presents the Rhino Man podcast. I'm your host, John Jerko, and the lead producer and director of Rhino Man the movie. This podcast series is a way for me to interview top conservationists on the topics of rhinos, the poaching crisis, the importance of rangers, and community engagement, all as a way to create awareness around these issues and to promote the coming release of our film. Rhino Man is a feature-length documentary about the courageous rangers who risk their lives every day to protect the rhinos. We're working on a theatrical and online release come June, July, so stay tuned for trailers, screenings, and more. This episode features Fedrick Ndlovu of the Timbavati Private Nature Reserve.
You know, John, what field ranger training does to someone, once you've gone through that and becomes successful, and I believe even if you didn't make it in the training, but the training itself, there is a seed that plants in someone. The resilience, it makes you, so aware that, okay, in life, it's not always, successful. You won't be successful in everything. Sometimes there are those hard times where you need to show character. You need to understand that, okay, now I'm facing this problem, but it's not the end of the road. I can still go forward. I can still achieve 1, 2, 3. If ever I can pull up my socks and push more, I can still make it. So that's how the selection or the training does to someone.
But before we begin, a word from our sponsors. Today's episode is sponsored by Wildlife & Co. This is our very first sponsor, and Wildlife & Co. is our good friend Robbie Harefield's company, and he's been supporting conservation efforts for years through his apparel company. To tell you more, Wildlife & Co. is on a mission to protect Earth's ecosystems and wildlife. So the way it works, Wildlife & Co. partners with artists to create unique, high-quality, fair trade apparel that you can purchase in their online store. And then you can look stylish while supporting your love for wildlife. A minimum of 10% of the proceeds from their new apparel line will fund Wildlife & Co.'s nonprofit partners in the field. Another benefit is that a portion of the proceeds from their custom art apparel lines go back to the artists. So not only are you supporting conservation efforts, but you're enabling talented artists to flourish. Going above and beyond this sponsorship, Robbie is putting together an awesome collaboration with GCC and Rhino Man, where they're making a special run of cotton organic hoodies with artwork by Kyle LeBlanc. Those hoodies will feature a limited edition rhino design, and the sales from these hoodies will directly benefit Rhino Man and GCC. So make sure to check them out on Instagram and get some cool apparel that'll support the cause at wildlifeandco.com. You can also see their link in the description, and again, that's wildlifeandco.com. Sponsorships are what will allow us to keep producing this podcast at a high level. We need your support. So if you'd like to sponsor the Rhino Man podcast, get your brand in front of our community, and support our conservation efforts, reach out to us at rhinomanthemovie.org/contact or email directly at info@rhinomanthemovie.org. Thank you for your support. Our guest today is my friend Fedrick Ndlovu, a longtime ranger at the Timbavati Private Nature Reserve. In this episode, we dive into Fedrick's path into becoming a ranger and how it almost didn't happen because of a government mix-up. We talk about his early days on the reserve facing the new threat of rhino poaching and his rise up through the ranger ranks. We cover the effects of COVID on the team in 2020, leadership advice, what it was like working with the Rhino Man team, and the loss of Anton Mzimba. Fedrick truly has a love and passion for his work, and it comes through in this conversation. So without further ado, here's Fedrick Ndlovu. All right, Fedrick, it's been a little while. It's so good to see you. Welcome to the Rhino Man podcast. I'm really excited to have you on here.
No, thank you, John. It's good to be with you again since after, I think, 2-3 years.
Yeah, I feel like I think we met back in 2018 when I first got started on Rhino Man, and I was here for maybe 4 or 5 days shooting for the film. And then we really got to know each other in 2020 when we thought Rhino Man was kind of going to be stuck because of a bunch of financial things around COVID and all this stuff. So we started shooting a whole other film. And back then, Anton and Orlat were like, go take this guy out there more.
Yeah.
So we got to spend a lot of time with you and a bunch of the other guys out in the field during 2020. And just before we even get into it, just thank you for all the time that you've spent, guiding us through the Timbavati and helping us try to capture some of these stories. It means a lot.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
So let's dive into your story a bit, but maybe just start out with, what's your position here at Timbavati? What are you doing? Why are you dressed in this awesome uniform here?
Oh, hey, John, what a story. Yeah, now seeing me wearing this uniform, it didn't start by wearing this uniform. When first I came to join Timbavati, working here, I came in working as a casual, doing some field work, fixing fences whenever there is a problem in the fence, bush clearing, because there was a project of bush clearing in some of the properties in Timbavati. Then after that, there was selections where they were looking for 4 field rangers. So I was interested because of while I was in, casual jobs, I saw field rangers who were working as field rangers back then. I got so, inspired by what they were doing. Then I showed my interest when they said there will be a selection for field rangers. Then I joined, did the selections. Fortunately enough, I made it. Then 2009, that was 2009 where we did the selections. So after that, I became a qualified field ranger. From there, I started working in Timbavati as a field ranger. It was a very good experience because everything that I was like looking it from a distance, I started expressing it, firsthand. So protecting wildlife, protecting nature, it's something that over the years, I was hearing people talking about it, but not so much, understanding to it. But the time I started working as a field ranger, it started making sense why we should protect nature, why we should, put ourselves in the front line to make sure that the wildlife, nature is protected. Because it's so much important to have someone who has passion, who has love for nature, who understands nature. So being in a ranger, it helps me to understand, to, have a clear understanding for it. And I've been trying my best to do something, trying my best to make sure that nature is protected.
How did you, or let's just go way back. Like, what was it like growing up as a kid in the communities? Were you pretty close to here where you grew up?
Yeah, growing up as a kid, it was more like a normal young boy in a village, going out, playing soccer. Sometimes we go out in the bushes, trying to catch some birds, because in the villages where I come from, that's what the young boy does. You always group each other as young boys, go out, play, soccer. Sometimes we go set some traps for birds. That was like more like a game. If ever I trap something, I'm a hero for that day. So that's what we always do. So
were you trapping them for food, or was it more just like as kids, just do it like you said, like a game?
For me, it was just a game because I don't eat them. It was like a game for me. But because if I trap, like, let's say I trap a bird, I take that bird if it's still alive, because sometimes if you took time to visit your trap, you find the bird died. So sometimes if you made it in time, you got it still alive, you can take it, especially doves. If at least I've managed to catch a dove, I'll take it back home, make it a beautiful cage, sort of a cage. Then I put it there, always provide with meal, something at least to eat. To have, at the end of the day, you find like I have 4 or 5 doves. Sometimes there will be someone who will be interested to have doves. They come, buy it. So just like that. But sometimes for some people, if they see you like you've catch a bait like doves, then they ask you like, can you sell it to me? Because you wanna like make it to eat it. So in that case, that's how we were like doing while we were growing up, but not understanding the impact that we are causing in the wildlife now lives. But that's why I'm saying after I managed to be a field ranger, a lot of things started to make sense. A lot of things started to like, I get to understand most of the things that I didn't know. So it was sort of an awareness for me.
Now, excuse me, with that awareness, have you taught your kids about wildlife and maybe some of the other kids in the community about why it's important to protect this wildlife?
Yeah, definitely. I always, have that talk with my kids, telling them the importance of, having this wildlife, for longer, for now, tomorrow, and for future. Because even the future generation, they need to experience this wildlife, not for us as we are the present generation. For them, these animals, because there were people back then who fought so hard to protect this wildlife, for us to see it today. So after us, there's still another generation that is coming. So for them to see or to experience the wildlife, we need to make sure that we protect them. So they should know the importance of the wildlife, why we should protect them. So that's how I engage with them, to have a better understanding with the wildlife.
What's their reaction to that? Are they understanding? Do they question you? They say like, well, why, Dad? Why does it matter?
Yeah, because I start most of the time by asking them, what is your favorite animal? Why do you love that animal? So by engaging them with that, talk, they end up because there are 3 girls and 1 boy. The boy will say, I love, the elephant because I'm Ndlovu. So he loves elephant. So for that elephant to live longer, it needs to be protected. So if you love an elephant, what do you do to something that you love? Then protection. So that's how they get to understand that these animals, they need to be protected. So even the girls, they will say the animal that they love. So the question will be like, for that animal for you to still have it for many years, what do you do? Obviously, is to protect it. You do by all means to make sure that that animal is protected. So in other words, protection, it's what, even the younger generation need to understand that these animals, they only need protection. If they can be protected, we have nothing to worry about.
What do they think about your work and what you do as a ranger? I mean, it's a risky job at times. You're away for long hours, long days. Has it changed over the years as they've gotten older? Do they see what you're doing and respect it, or is it like a challenge to say, hey, I'm going to be away, but this is why?
Yeah, for them to understand what I'm doing, my work, they know the difficulties of me working as a ranger, because I spent, almost a month away from them, not getting a chance to be with them every day. And I love spending time with my kids. They love, spending time with me, because we get to play around, fool around, making jokes, laughing, dancing, all sort of things. So if I'm away, we don't get to do that. So that's where it becomes a worrying factor for them. But they know that I have to work for them to get something. I have to go out and do what I do and come back home, then so that I can provide. So that's where they have a little understanding of it, that, okay, Daddy has to go out and work and come back for us to have 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Kind of diving into a little bit more of how you became a ranger. You said you started working here doing more, like roads and things like that.
Yeah.
And how did you get that job originally? How did that all come about?
Yeah, getting a chance to work in Timbavati, it started because my father was working here. So as my father was working here, then there was, they were looking for the people to come and work for field work. Then he told me that if I'm interested, I should come, because by then I had a problem of an ID. Then I was still, going with that process of fixing the problem, because I did it with the Home Affairs. Then a problem happened. I don't know how, but something happened where I found myself, I was sharing my ID with someone. So while the department was still trying to fix the problem, so I was doing nothing at home. So instead of sitting home, then my father suggested that, how about you come, work here with us here, if you're interested. So then I said, look, I don't know, but it's fine. I can come and work there. Then the opportunity arises. Then I came, I did a little bit of interview. Then I got lucky. I started, I think it was June 2000 and, it was 2008. Yeah, 2008, if I'm not mistaken. Then I started working here from June 2008, doing such work, field work, fixing roads, fixing fences, bush clearing.
Was it pretty hard work, physical?
Physically, it's a bit hard, but if you do it regularly, you end up getting used to it, and you're enjoying it. And it was very easy because I met, people from the same age as me. So then they made it so easy. I became so close with Olat and some other guys who are no longer here with us. Then it was easy as that, just like that. They made it so easy. We're having a soccer team. By playing soccer, it made, being in Timbavati so easy, because it's different from the village where you were, things were so open to do. You can go anywhere. So here it's a very limited space. You stay where you are placed. Then early in the morning you go out for work. You come back later. You are just there in one place.
Was it similar to being a ranger, where you were on the reserve for so many days before you could go home? Is that kind of how it was set up?
It was more like the same.
Yeah.
Being here for a month, then at the end of the month, then you go home for a few days. Now it's better because the off days are a little bit more compared to those that we were having back then. So after that, being here, working as a casual, I was like so eager to work as a permanent, because we were not permanent. We were just a temporary employment. It was just a temporary employment.
Like a short-term contract.
A short-term contract. Yeah. Like anytime you can be excused. So the hunger in me was like, okay, now I'm working as a temporary worker here, but I wish to work as a permanent. But permanent as a labor staff, no, that's not what I'm aiming. If I can be a ranger, then I think I will be sorted, because that's where I think I'll be exposed to a lot of things. That's where I can do better for my life. So then the opportunity, 2009, that's where Timbavati, were looking for field rangers. I think with the announcement, they said they're looking for 4 field rangers.
Was that when Orlat also joined the selection? Okay.
Yeah. Because I was with him in a temporal staff. Then we registered for selections together with him, Orlat. So 2009, I think it was May, where we participated in the selection. On that month, May, we did the selection. We did well. Then we went to South African Wildlife College for basic.
Was the selection done here at Timbavati?
Yes, selection, we did it here in Timbavati.
What was that like? What was that whole experience? I feel like everyone has a selection story.
It was tough. I think Ola still has the pictures.
Oh, he has some pictures of it.
Yeah, I think he still has 1 or 2 pictures. We were very skinny after the selection. Very skinny.
How long was the selection back then?
It was 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks, I think. because the first week we were doing, we're running up and down, doing the exercises, going out for patrol. Then the second week, it was a bush phase. We went to the bush and spent a week there. They're trying to teach us about survival. So yeah, it was an experience that I will never forget in my life.
Do you have any moments that stand out from that experience, or was there ever a point where you were like, do I really want to do this? Is it?
Yeah, I think for that moment, which I think stand out for me, it is that because I think we were like 17, 18 total number of us who participated in the selection. Then it comes down to, we left, I think we were 5, because it was, 5, I think. We were 6, sorry, 7.
So 17 down to about
7.
7, okay.
Then out of 7, we went to bush phase 7 people. Then on the bush phase, remember they are looking for 4 people, but we are 7. Obviously 3 has to go. And out of that, me, it was an obvious case that I won't be part of, because the story behind that, when I say, for me, it was an obvious case that I won't be part of, the lucky ones, because I was still, dealing with the ID issue. So because I don't have, an ID at that moment, I'm only using a birth certificate and a duplicate, that little paper that they give you in the Home Affairs.
Yeah.
So the manager on that time, he said, okay, you can participate in this, program. You can do the selection. But because you don't have an ID, it's going to be tough for me to employ you and be a permanent employee. Then you can do, at the same time, try to fix your problem. So that if ever you got lucky, you get your ID, and likely enough, you get lucky again to qualify as a field ranger, then it will be easy for me as a leader. Then fine, it's fine. Because I have an interest to be a field ranger. It's fine, I will take part with the selection. Then I did register. I take part with it. We did everything. I did everything. I was always the second behind Olad. Olad was always ahead of us in everything.
Yeah, that guy's fit, huh?
Yeah,
he's
very fit. He's very fit. And for me, I always use him as a target. Like, if he can be number 1, if I can't beat him, I has to be number 2. In everything, I tried that. That was my motivation. That as this guy is so good, let me use him as a motivator to me, as an influencer. If he can be number 1, if he does 10 push-ups, if I can't do 10 push-ups, at least let me do 9. Obviously, you'll be ahead of me with 1. And then the others, it's clear that they will be behind. So in everything, I tried my best to be number 2. Then, luckily enough, then after the bush, we came back, out of the bush phase, we came back, then there has to do an interview, because we are still many, and they're looking for 4. So we did the interview, and in the interview, I did well. Then I remember the manager said, like, you are pushing my hand. You're pushing my hand, because in everything, you did so good. So now I don't know what to do, but okay, it's fine. I'll have the 4 that I was looking for, but I'll stretch the number to 5. Then go fix your issue. If your issue will be, be fixed so fast, then you'll be one of the team member of Field Rangers. Not knowing that God has done it already. Because that's why I'm saying this job, it's a calling for me by God. Because God already prepared everything. That after the interview, they gave us a week to go and relax. Because the selection was tough. Then we were given a week to go home, at least to take a breath, to relax, to refresh. Then after a week, we'll come back. On my way out from the reserve, going home, I received a call. Even the manager of that time, he couldn't believe it. Because the same day I did the interview, and he promised that, okay, he can have a space for me because I did good in everything. But because of I don't have an ID, he's giving me a chance to go and fix the problem. If ever the problem could be fixed very easily, then there is a space. Then on my way out, I got a call from the Home Affairs Department from Pretoria. They said, my ID is in the Tulamahashi, because that's where I did my ID. I couldn't believe it, and I said to him, like, man, I've been receiving calls saying that there's my ID in there, but to find that there is no ID of mine. Mm-hmm. So how can I believe you now? He said, go to the nearest branch, your ID is there. Then I get home. Okay, I phoned my mom after the call. But mom, okay, they said my ID is there. So I don't know. She cried because I struggled. Because some of the people that I attended school with, they are in universities doing, furthering their studies. Mm. And the dream, a wish of my parents was for me to go further with studies. Maybe I can be something in life. So I went to Home Affairs. Then, to cut the story short, I got the ID. Mm. After that week that we were given from Timbavati, I came back with the ID. And when I came back with the ID, I went to old Anton's office, as he was the head ranger of the field rangers. I showed him the ID. I got the ID. He jumped. He jumped in a way that he was so excited. He was so excited because he was wishing me well. Mm. Then he was full of excitement. He took the ID, ran, left me behind, ran to the manager's office. He showed him that Federick got his ID. Then the manager came. Did you buy this? There is no way you can, apply for an ID within a week and receive it. There is no way. How? What did you do? Then I said, sir, it was just God's grace. I don't know. Because Monday after the interview, I received a call saying that the ID is in the nearest branch. I went there, I got the ID. So now there is nothing, it's prohibiting me, stopping me to be a ranger. Now I'm ready. Then from there, we were sent to the Wildlife College, to do the basic. We went there, did the basic, we came back June 2009, then we started to work officially as field rangers.
Wow. That's a pretty cool story. I mean, you basically went through all that torture, not even knowing if you had a shot because of this ID issue, which if people like in the other countries, basically it's like almost like a driver's license, but it's your official ID that is connected to it's almost like a passport for South Africa. But
yeah.
And if you don't have that, you can't get into university, you can't get a job.
Nothing.
None of that. So yeah, that's super incredible, especially the fact that you had that much will and, staying right on Orlot's heels the whole time, pushing so hard when you didn't even know if you had this ID in the end.
Yeah, it was, and yeah, it was hectic, John. It was hectic. I remember when the manager came to me while we're training. He came to me like, Federick, you are so, full of energy. But remember, I can't employ you because you don't have an ID. But if you can do better, he was motivating me, but at the same time, demoralizing.
Yeah.
So, but
if you get it, but it's probably not going to happen. So.
Yeah. So it was up to me. It was up to me to do better. Then, but I tried to push myself. I pushed myself. Then there was this time. Then I was feeling it that no, man, my legs was so painful. my shoulders, because of the backpack full of sand, it was heavy and I couldn't take it. I remember dropping some tears, and I told myself, like, no, I can't do this. And obviously, because I don't have an ID, I won't be employed. So why torture myself? Let me just stop and like get into the bakkie, because there was always, a bakkie standby for anyone who will fall or maybe wanna quit. Then they will drive him back to the HQ. Then he can go out and go back to his family. So yeah, it was tough for me. It was tough for me for that little period.
What kept you going in that moment?
There was this field ranger, Jack Msimango. He was a senior ranger who was like, safeguarding us while we were doing the training. They were making sure that there is no harm that could happen to us. So he was very close to me. That moment when I stopped, trying to take out the bag out of me, he said, "What are you doing?" Then I couldn't respond to him. I just stand there. The other guys were moving. And at that moment, there is two guys who walk past me and walk behind Olat. And I was always behind him. Whether we're running, whether we're doing what, always behind him. And that was my motivation throughout the selection. But at that moment, I just lose, confidence. But because he was very close and he was seeing me that all along I was pushing. So he's wondering, what is it that is, making me stop? Because I seem like I still have a little bit of energy that I can still go a bit further. But at that moment, I think, I'll say it's a demon that trying to disturb my mind and demoralize me to give up. Then he said, like, no, you can't give up now. Check where you are coming from. It's far. You've done a lot. So now you want to stop? No. Fix yourself. Let's go. And from that moment, he was always, walking behind me, pushing me, like, you won't stop here. You won't stop here. Just move. Then his words made me realize, okay, it's fine. Maybe there will be something positive out of this. Let me still push. Then I did that. I pushed. I still even walked past the two guys who was before me after Olat. Then I walk and be behind Olat, and then we did and finished the training. Then, yeah, that was the training was the field ranger training is tough. It's more like a military training. It's very tough.
I mean, it's inspirational to hear that story, because I feel like there's a lot of times in life where you hit that wall and you just feel like giving up on something. Do you think because of that selection that you have a little more inner strength, because now even when I'm at the end and feel like I'm going to break, I still have more than I thought I had in me? Because I'm sure you've probably faced a lot of challenges since then. Does that moment come up in your memory every once in a while and encourage you to push on?
John, what field ranger training does to someone, once you've gone through that and becomes successful, and I believe even if you didn't make it in the training, but the training itself, there is a seed that plants in someone, the resilience. It makes you, so aware that, okay, in life, it's not always, successful. You won't be successful in everything. Sometimes those hard times where you need to show character, you need to understand that, okay, now I'm facing this problem, but it's not the end of the road. I can still go forward. I can still achieve 1, 2, 3. If ever I can pull up my socks and push more, I can still make it. So that's how the selection or the training does to someone. So I've encountered a lot of challenges in life. And with the training, it taught me a lot of things that is helping me today to, overcome every challenge that it may come to my life. And as a father, as a husband, there is a lot that I encounter in a family life, and that needs me to lead as a head of the family, to my kids, to my wife, to my family members as a whole. There's always that a role that I need to play, and some roles, they need courage. And where can you find courage other than the field ranger training?
Yeah, that's really special, and I feel like you see that in a lot of the guys here, and also some of the other places I've been. Just that passion and commitment and dedication and inner strength, which it can be hard to find in other professions and jobs, because I think that this type of training really does do something to you. It creates a certain inner discipline and strength, which is pretty special. So I appreciate you sharing that story. Once you kind of finish this initial training and you're starting to actually work out here for the first time, what was that like? What did it feel like being a ranger out here with the rest of the guys, going on patrols, starting to do the actual work?
It was so exciting because finally I can go out and do, the field ranger work. And the guys who were there before, the senior field rangers, they made us, to enjoy it. It was tough because during that moment, during that time, there was a lot of incursions. I remember before we could even receive the rifles, already there is an incursion which we need to respond to. We were like holding sticks. And we need to respond to someone that we don't know what is he having in him. Maybe he has a rifle. He could shoot us. So, but because of the passion, because of the excitement that, okay, now we are field rangers and we have a work to do. We need to protect the wildlife. So this is the time. Okay, here is the problem. We need to solve it. We need to attend to it. I remember during that week, and if I can remember quite correctly, I think we had 3 or 4 incursions during our first or second week of our field ranger work. And we managed to, we were successful in 2 incursions, because there was a group of 3. We managed to apprehend them. And there was this one, there were a group of 2, I think, because we were trekking 2 treks. Then we trek until we go even outside the reserve, and we catch him outside in the villages. Using those sticks, remember, just imagine, using a stick to apprehend someone, it's not an easy one. But because of the passion, because of the courage we had, it motivates us to make sure that this one, it doesn't go away. We want to make sure, we want to send a message outside that in Timbavati now, there is field rangers. The manpower now is enough to make sure that the reserve is safe. And we did that. And it was nice. It was nice. Having a first experience of, arresting someone, having the experience of being in an operation of ambushing, doing waylay, where you wait for someone, a poacher, where you don't know which direction he will come. You just stay awake the whole night. Then it was scary but exciting. Yeah, both. It was scary and exciting, and it was nice because we were always motivating each other. Orlat, I think, the other 3 guys who were, one is in Kruger now, Given, very good guy. Master now is unfortunately is no longer with Timbavati with some reasons. Anton Mzimba, the same, is no longer with us because of some reasons. But the 5 of us, we came into Timbavati together. So we were always motivating each other. And we did, I think we did well. We did well because from that moment, we had a lot of, success in apprehending, whoever was coming in to do bad.
I mean, that was during kind of the beginning of the height of the poaching crisis as well, right? So as soon as you became a ranger, the rhino poaching really started to take off.
Yeah, it started, to be serious. I remember the first time, seeing a rhino poacher. 2011, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was 2011. Yeah, 2011. Anton Mzimba and the other guy, Constantine, they had a gunshot. And remember, Anton Mzimba was telling you, he was our group, he's one of our group. Then they had a gunshot, I think twice, 2 gunshot, twa. They reported, they responded. We went as a backup team. We worked so hard during at that day. And luckily, we managed to apprehend them. Unfortunately, it was after they shot the rhino, and the rhino was dead. But they didn't go out. We managed to confiscate their rifles, ox, a couple of things that they were having. And together with them, we managed to catch them. So it was, and that was the first experience, to deal with someone who is armed. So it was very scary, but motivating, because it shows that, okay, we can do more, we can protect the nature.
Did you see when that started happening and you started having all these incursions, did you notice once you guys started putting pressure on that you were able to make a difference on the reserve and kind of keep these guys back?
Yeah, by putting more effort, it shows that, okay, we can win, we can make a difference in the reserve. Because even these guys who were used to come to Timbavati and do poaching, even those who were doing poaching for killing animals and sell them outside, or maybe the rhino poaching, which were like starting to be serious at that time. For us, it was about seeing the situation and trying to engage ourselves into it, that, okay, now there is this problem that is happening. Then what do? You could see the senior field rangers are old, and us, we are young. We still have legs to carry ourselves forward. We can still run. Even those guys, the senior guys, they were always telling that you guys are young. We need you to run. If ever there is a problem, you'll run. I'll be behind you. Don't worry about me. I'll be behind you, but you need to run. So we always make fun of that situation. Every time when we get into a buggy, being deployed to somewhere, behind the buggy while, chatting, it was always that. Like, hey, if ever we find someone there, you'll be the one who will be chasing. I'll be behind you. So you're still young, you have an energy. So with that kind of a talk, it was motivating to us, and it was helping us to wish to catch someone. And yeah, we always understand that, okay, we are young and we can make a difference. And the message will go out. And as soon as the message goes out, there will be a seed that will be planted. And there will be a few who will come. But most, they won't be coming the same as before. So that was the motivation. That was the things that were like motivating to make sure that, okay, we make a difference in a reserve.
What was it like over the years? So you said 2008?
2008, yes.
And then, I think I met you in 2018, like I said earlier, and then spent more time in 2020. But what was the path that you took over those years? Did you kind of work your way up through the ranks? Did you learn more? What was that like?
Yeah, it was quite a journey. After starting working as a field ranger, already there were some guys who were working in a higher rank, because in the field ranger structure, there is a head ranger, there is a sergeant, 2 full corporals, then there is lance corporals, so then junior rangers. So when we started, we were just junior rangers, but with the hunger in me, I always like wanted to do better so that I can be. I saw myself that okay, it's possible that I can climb the ladder. So I always align myself in doing better. That one day I want to see myself, being someone, having a title, not just a field ranger. Then every day, my day-to-day work was always, about doing well, doing better, showing, the passion, understanding that, okay, the nature needs to be protected. And who can do that if it's not me? So I always like push myself in such, line, and having all that by myself as someone who is very smart, who I think he was for us, for in our group, he was very, we always took him as someone who like we refer this job from him because he had a better understanding than us. He had better, vision. So with having him and together with Anton, a very smart guy, he was very smart and he was always looking out for someone. He was selfless because he could, approach you, he will come and check where you stand with this job. Are you here because you are hungry at home, or you are here because you are hungry and you have passion to do the job? So then if he sees that, okay, you have a hunger, but the background at home is not good, but even you yourself, personally, you have the passion to protect the wildlife. He was someone who will nurture you. He was someone who will help you to, get understanding and get better by each day. That at the end of the day, if you do well, you can go anywhere and become big. So, yeah, I worked from 2008, 2009 after, being qualified as a ranger. I worked just like anyone, but putting extra effort. Then I think not so sure. Then I 2015, yes, 2015. Then I got lucky. There was pickets that was established. Then they needed leaders there. Then I got lucky and be one of the selected to be a lance corporal. Then from a junior ranger, then I started working as a lance corporal from 2015. Then from that time, I worked as a lance corporal. Then after, because Olat was a full corporal while I was lance corporal. Then Olat was promoted to be a sergeant. Then when Olat was promoted to be a sergeant, then they promoted me to be a full corporal. Not so sure when, but I think 2017, I think, if I'm not mistaken. 2017, I became a full corporal. So being a full corporal, then I worked, yeah.
And when you were full corporal, were you kind of taking leadership of overseeing all the pickets to some degree, or what was that leadership role like?
Yeah, being a full corporal, I was overseeing the whole team with the support of the sergeant and the head ranger, Anton. So the lance corporals, the junior field rangers, they were all under my supervision. So then into the sergeant. The sergeant was the supervisor of us all. But I was the one who was more like, very close to the field rangers, going between, taking instructions, reporting back to the sergeant giving instruction to me, then making sure that in every day we are out, protecting the wildlife, doing patrols, in different way that we can do.
Do you have any advice for someone in that type of leadership role? Because, I'm sure it can't be easy at times. Some of these these guys are out there far away from home, out in the bush many days. There's a lot of stress between the wildlife and poachers and all the things that are happening. What advice would you give to someone in a leadership role to help them communicate with their team and create a better environment?
Being a leader, first of all, it's not an easy task. Very difficult. There is a lot that is expected from you. Your team is expecting a lot from you, and the management or the company itself is expecting something from you. For you to keep, the company, doing good, you are the one who is carrying everything in your shoulders, because you need to make sure that the team performs. You need to make sure that the team gel into each other to cooperate so that they can produce good results. You need to motivate, unity. You need to motivate, hard work. You need to do a lot of things on them. Sometimes there are misunderstanding among the team. Sometimes there is a misunderstanding between you as a leader and the junior rangers. So there's always challenges. So being a leader is difficult, it's tough. But my advice to someone who is in a leadership role, especially the full corporals, the lance corporals, I'll say just be yourself, knowing the task that is in hand, which is to protect the wildlife. We are not here for our personal gain or for our own agendas. We are here to serve, the animals. I used to say or tell people that we are the messengers of the wildlife, especially the ones that are endangered now, the rhinos, the elephants, the pangolins. We are the messengers. We are the protectors of those, animals. We are the voice of those animals. They can't speak for themselves. They can't fight for themselves. We are the ones who can fight for themselves. We are the one who can voice out the message that these animals are important. They have a right to have life. So if we can't speak for them, they can't speak for themselves. So we are the one who have to, take out the message. They can't fight. We are the ones who can fight their battle. And the battle is far from over. And who has to do that? As field rangers, because we got lucky, we were fortunate enough to have a chance to stand in for the rhinos, for the elephants, for the lions, for every wildlife. So you as a leader, you need to understand that task, that role, that you are standing between human and the animals. So you need to engage with the human to instill the understanding of the importance of the wildlife. That us as humans, we have a task, we have a role to do so that these animals has life, has freedom, has life, yes, of course. So for the animals to have that life, we need to do something. We are not here because in this job, there is an issue of money. Because there are those who come expecting money, but not doing the work. So as a leader, you have tasks, you have a role, you have a work to do. So don't think for yourself, think for the animals. Mm. And while thinking for the animals, it will give you a way how to communicate with the younger ones or the junior rangers.
Yeah, so it's really just connecting that why you're there to what they're doing out there so that they can understand,
Exactly.
It's not, you are making money to support your family, but it's more than just a job. Yeah. That's pretty powerful. So as I was talking earlier, during COVID, which was also a trying time for everybody because, especially in South Africa, all the tourism money suddenly dried up. They shut down the borders. No one could travel here. I know that wasn't easy for you guys either. A lot of organizations in the Kruger area basically went out of business. What was that time like? I was out here with a camera in your face quite a bit, trying to shoot another movie because we thought maybe Rhino Man was lost as well because of the finances. But yeah, talk a little bit about that time during COVID and how you guys managed to cope through that situation.
Sure. COVID time. That COVID period, it was tough, very tough. That's where I started seeing, division among the team, because you were not so sure who to trust. And because of we were closed in here, because during that time, as a lot of people were losing jobs, you never know what those people will do next because of hunger. Maybe they might use the opportunity, to come to the reserves, and because it's an easy money. People think it's an easy money because they can come, poach a rhino, go back and sell it. Then they will have that money. So game reserves management saw it, important that if they can keep the field rangers inside, then so that they can protect, so that can fight whatever challenge might arise during that moment. So we were one of those, as we are field rangers of Timbavati. So Timbavati kept us inside and be here, as it was COVID. The salary was reduced, which made the situation so difficult for us. We are no longer seeing our families. It was tough. Sometimes we are not going out to town so that you can get things for yourselves. You are always inside here. So going out, working, be here, you are not seeing people. Those who were outside are not coming in. Us, as we are inside, we are not going out. We are stuck. So the atmosphere was not so good. But I'll say thank you to GCC and the Rhino Man. They did a wonderful job to help us, cope with the situation, cope us during that period. Because with the food parcels you provided us during that moment, it really, stood out for us. We wouldn't, survive that if it wasn't for you. That stretch of a hand to provide with food parcels to our families, it really did well. Situations was out of hand. If our families were struggling because we were getting so little. Some of the field rangers, they were having financed cars. They have to pay. So, and with the little money that we were getting, it couldn't cover everything. But with the help of the food parcels we were receiving, it really, played a big role. It really played a big role. But nevertheless, we end up, winning with the situation. But COVID period, it was very tough, very, very tough.
Yeah, and I mean I feel like that's the least we could do is help in some way, and it was kind of the whole community came together and supported. And I know Spar was a big sponsor, and they gave us a huge discount on that food, so those guys helped out quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, you guys are in here, like you said, especially at the beginning, because I think nobody knew how bad it was going to be. So we didn't want people going in and out and potentially getting COVID or bringing it into the reserve. So it was kind of a tough and scary time, and didn't know how bad it was going to get. So yeah, that was definitely interesting times. But luckily, like you said, I think it didn't seem like it got too bad in terms of poaching, at least during COVID. I mean, after things opened back up, I think it started to pick up again. But at least you didn't have that to worry about at the same time as the struggles on the inside.
Yeah, during COVID period, in terms of incursions, poaching, it was very down. It was very down. People, I think they were following the regulations of the nation out there that made, the situations inside the game reserves, controllable. So it was, the stress was all about, how will we survive this sickness? Because we don't know, it just started out of the blue. So, and people are most of the people are outside. Us here, we can't go out. We can't see our families. We can't be with our kids, wives. So it was just a disaster. But yeah, luckily enough, with the help that we got from different people, it really helped us, to survive the situation. But it was very tough.
During that time, as I said, we were shooting another film. I just want to ask you, like, why do you guys support, not only us, but other organizations coming in, capturing some of these stories, whether it's the rangers or wildlife? What do you feel the benefit is of having those stories told?
It was a blessing in disguise. Being a field ranger, let me just say, field ranger job, it's not so known that much out there. What we are doing is not so, to a lot of people, you are just like a shepherd boy back in the village, a shepherd boy who is heading the cattle to out in the fields to graze, then late in the afternoon come back. You are just a nobody. We are not taken, that much. But having been filmed, it came as, a tool that will take the message out, that will expose the field rangers, that will, spread, the importance of being a ranger. Most of the people, they know that, okay, there is lions, especially Kruger, because it's the well-known, organization. It's talk of the town, if I may put it that way. They only know that they go to visit Kruger to see animals. But those animals, for you to go there and see them, why are they, how these animals are they, surviving? For you to keep on going there and see them. Obviously, there is someone who's doing something to protect those animals. So for people to know who are those people, what are they doing? How do they survive? How did they become to be someone who fight for animals? That needs to be told. But how? So after GCC, Rhino Man came in, it was a blessing in disguise that the message will finally go out. People, they will start to hear about field ranging. People, they will start to understand what are the roles of the field ranger, the importance of a field ranger. What do we do? What do they do? Then that's how, I'm grateful to have you guys, after coming in. I think now a lot of people, field ranger is the talk of the town. Everybody, I think, is talking about the field rangers. Now I think everyone knows about the field ranger. Because during that time where poaching was escalating so high, and it was going out with the wrong message, the message that the field rangers are killing people. And it wasn't like that. So someone was needed, to clear the air, to correct the message that it's not about those people are not the killers, that whoever comes in there, they kill. No, it's not what we do. We're not here to kill anybody. But someone needs to tell the story and make sure that people receive the real story. And Rhino Man has come. And now people are here to know the truth. And I believe they already know something now.
Well, I'm glad you're grateful, because I feel like some of those days it felt like I was torturing you guys, saying, "Oh, let's go back out. I'm back again."
No pain, no gain, John. During that time, a lot needed to be done. There was a lot of things that needed to be covered. So obviously, a lot of hours needed to we needed to do this many hours so that everything can be captured. And yeah, so Yeah, it felt like a torture, but it's what was needed at the time.
I can't thank you enough for all of your time out there and the team as well. You supported a lot. And I remember because Anton was, we covered him quite a bit for the Rhino Man film, and then we were shooting this new movie, and he really pushed you out into the forefront to have more experience and exposure in front of the camera. And I feel like there's some scenes that we did that you were pretty much a professional actor out there, so doing your job, but you're good on camera.
Anton did well that's why earlier I said he was a selfless person. He was always pushing us, to be exposed, to get an experience, and making sure that, okay, we need to share what we know. While we're sharing what we know, someone out there, a young child, will get to, the opportunity, will get to a point where he'll get the message. And if the child can absorb the message, maybe he might change his mentality, his thinking, whatever he was thinking before. If it was not the good thing, maybe he might start changing and seeing things different. So that's what he was always preaching to us. And yes, after you came in, everything that we're doing, it was always for us an opportunity to take out the information, to take out the message that, okay, hear us, listen to us, know what we do, and there was no other way that we can do that other than, having a Rhino Man with us.
What else can you say about Anton as a leader, as a friend? Who was he to you?
Anton was everything. Was a lot of things to me. He was a brother, he was a father, he was my leader. He did so well, personally to my life. When I started as a field ranger, he was someone who was very close, motivating, teaching me a lot of things. When I had problems, he was always there for me to help me get through the situation. And I remember 2010 when my father passed on, he was someone who played a big role to make sure that I don't, float on that. He helped me so much because at home I'm a first child. And after my father died, I was left with a big, role to play. And there was no one who was working other than me. I had a lot of burden to carry. And the situation was overwhelming. So having him around me, it really helped. He really helped me to understand the situation that, okay, now my father passed on, but I'm still alive. And there is a reason that I'm still alive as a firstborn child and as someone that is working. About my job, for me to sustain the family through my job, I need to grow. And if I've grown, I'll be able to take, good decisions wherever I'm expected to do that. And whenever he saw me, off ramping, doing something off, I was always there. He wasn't afraid to calm you down, to correct you, not caring how you will feel. He will tell you whatever he want to tell you. Every information that he want you to hear, he will tell you, okay, now you are not doing well. You are wrong on 1, 2, 3, 4. Fix this. Sometimes he don't give you even a chance to respond. He just tell you the message and leave you just like that. You'll left thinking. Then afterwards he'll come back. Did you think about what I said? Then that's where he'll engage with you, trying to make it clear why is he doing that. And in a later stage, he'll give you solutions that, okay, this situation wants you to do this and this and this. And at the end of the day, you find yourself doing good because of his advices. Because if his guidelines he was so good. Yeah. And work-wise, He was my leader, man. I did, I am where I am now because of him. He wanted good for us. All out, myself and the other guys. Everyone actually who was under his wings. He wanted good things. He really helped me. Sometimes he will even sacrifice this time to be in the office and doing what he should do there. If you see like, okay, you need something, you lack somewhere, he will come. Like today, we're together. I remember one time we were together in an ECP. Just for him to make sure that I understand my role as a field ranger. For the week, I spent a week in an ECP with him, trying to make sure that I understand, teaching me a lot of things. So, yeah, I regard him as a hero. Regard him as someone who, the next generation, if only he was still alive, everyone who will be lucky to have him will gain a lot because of his, knowledge about nature, about life, his experience. It was so good. It will be good to have him still. But unfortunately, it happened what happened. So, yeah, Anton, he was Anton. Someone who raise a dead nation to be a live nation.
Yeah, I think we'll all miss him, but I think, I also think that he lives on through everyone that he touched, and you and Orlat and the rest of the team. So much of that wisdom he imparted on you guys now, and now you're able to impart that onto the next generation as well. So, we all wish he was still here, but I think he's still living through us. I know it's hard to talk about, and you can say as little or as much as you like, but I'm curious what that experience of losing him was like. And I know I think you were working away at another job at that time, and yeah, just kind of curious what that was like when you heard about his death and what happened.
I remember the time I handed in my resignation. He held my resignation letter. He looked at me in my face. He looked on the letter. He read it again. He looked at me. He dropped tears. That moment stuck with me. He never expected that to happen. But at that time, I felt like, okay, I did what I had to do in Timbavati. I need to learn more. I need to be exposed to other things, but still in the field ranger job. Not knowing that departing or resigning from Timbavati, it was a goodbye to him. And when I remember that moment when I handed in my resignation and his tears, it really pained me. It still pains me even today that I had a chance at least to still be with him and absorb or get more wisdom, get more, things from him. But because I moved out, I reduced my chances of getting more, wisdom from him. Then, I resigned. I went to work for BDR in Northwest. I think I lasted there 8 months, almost a year. Then after his death, Anton's death, communicated with the management. They approached me like, okay, now now you see, Anton is no more. You were a wonderful team together with him. He taught you everything. we believe you've learned something from him. There is all that now he need to take the reign and lead the team. But we believe you can also play a role in growing the team, in helping the team, in helping Timbavati, reach higher levels. So if you understand, if you accept, you can, we'll appreciate it if you can come back. I struggled a bit, but at the end of the day, I communicated the news with my family. Then because I was far, then they said, okay, here it was close. Now as you are far, there are some things which it's difficult for us to do with you. But if you are here, it will be good. So if you consider coming back, it's fine, come back. Especially my wife, my kids, because they were missing this place. They were missing visiting because there they were not visiting, it's far. So here they were visiting, getting a chance to see a lot of things, be exposed to a lot of things, seeing animals, be in the bush and see different things. So they were so excited, when I tell them that there is this proposal that I should come back to Timbavati. Then it was something that I needed to do, to clear that with my family. So they understand that. Then I see no reason why I should not come back. Then I spoke with Ola, tell him that, okay, there is this proposal from the management of Timbavati. Then Ola said, okay, it's fine, man. If you see it like you can still come back and work with us, with me, I would love that. Then, because I wanted to, I spoke with different guys that I was close with before I left. That guys, there is this proposal. I don't know. I'll come back. There is a possibility of me coming back. Then a lot of guys said, man, come back. We miss you. And I was also missing them. Timbavati, the team, so good. I know that the leadership in all that, it's so marvelous. So I didn't see any reason why should I not come back and be part of Timbavati. Then that's why when I come back, I spoke with them, when we are still, trying to iron the matter of me coming back. Then all that was to move to the position that Anton left, and there was that question of what am I coming back for? But for me, it was not about positions. It was about coming back to be part of Timbavati, pushing the work, making sure that everything is done well, and the poaching, it's not getting worse. But together with the guys, we'll help each other to fight and make sure that we do, we make a difference. And September last of last year, 2022. Then I resigned in my new job. They couldn't believe it because it was, it was still fresh. I was still fresh. It was recently joining them. But after speaking with the Timbavati, I saw it fit that, okay, it's fine, I can come back. Shepherd, he couldn't believe it. He cried man, no. But I felt okay, I still have something that I can do in Timbavati. Then, yes, I came back in September, started working in October 1st. So since then, I'm back and I'm part of the team now, working, supporting Orlat, making sure that whenever it needs strong manpower, we are available to do that. We're always here to push the agenda, because the agenda is the same, it's one. So it's making sure that, okay, Timbavati, it's reaching a higher level, animals, the wildlife is protected.
Was it strange coming back without Anton here this first weeks and days?
It was strange because, I was so familiar with his, presence here. His movements up and down, There are places which I was used to see him there. In the office, the positioning of him, he becomes so difficult, but I just get used to it with time, getting to understand that, yes, it's normal. There is nothing that now we can do. Social media, the pictures were running around, on news, there's still that question, who did this? Why? So, and I believe the pain, the scar was still new, was still bleeding. Everyone was still bleeding. Everyone was still having these questions. So every time there was always the talk of Anton. Even the way he was murdered, it was so strange, it was so scary. So, yeah.
How did you find out? Did you get a phone call or a message or?
Yeah, I received a phone call that, okay, there is this incident. I think before he was declared dead, I received a phone call. Olat was rushing. I said Olat was out. Then I couldn't talk to him. I couldn't reach him to understand the situation, what is happening. But there was information that, okay, there was gunshots in Anton's house, but not knowing or understanding what was the situation. Then after some hours, then the news came in and said, like, the guy is no more. So I felt like the whole world is crashing on me. I couldn't believe it, and especially when someone died without, being ill or something. He just got shot and died. It's very strange. It's something that you'll never expect from someone that is very close to you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, thank you for sharing that. And I know it was hard for everyone here. And yeah, being back in Atlanta, I really wanted to be out this way when that all happened. And it was a couple of months before I made it here. But yeah, just such a tragic situation. And we'll keep fighting and hopefully bring justice to these people that did this. And yeah, just grateful for you, and I'm sure the whole team is really grateful that you came back during that time and came, being a part of the Timbavati. So it wasn't the same. I think there was maybe one time I came and you weren't here, but once I saw you back, I was like, Fedrick, you're back. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it means a lot.
Yeah, I know, coming back, but yeah, I'm here now. I'm here now. It was difficult the first few months. I think October, November, December, early stage of last year, it was still tough. I struggled actually. I've been with Timbavati when I left, I think it was 10, 11 years being a member of Timbavati family. Just imagine leaving someone after 11 years. It's quite difficult. But I just went, for me, after some time, it felt like, okay, I only went for a holiday. Now I'm back. So now it's time to do what I need to do, is to fight, poaching. Yeah, to fight, poaching, and it's what I want to do. And I'll do it until I die.
Yeah, well, we need more rangers like you out here, and hopefully this project brings more awareness to the work that you guys are doing and more support for your team. Is there anything you want to leave the listeners with? Maybe some words of encouragement, whether that's maybe like a young guy or gal that wants to become a ranger, or someone that's just thinking about getting into conservation. What would you tell them to inspire them or give them advice coming into this space?
Yeah, for them young champs who want to be field rangers, guys, we need you. We need, moment power. People who have passion, because this job needs someone who has passion, not money-driven, someone. Money will be just a bonus, because you need to survive at the end of the day. but it shouldn't be something that you should lean on to push you. But with the passion, that's what can make a difference. So whoever want to be a field ranger, you are more than welcome, because you are highly, highly, highly welcome and needed so badly. So being a field ranger is very nice, because the animals need you, need me, need whoever has a passion and whoever has, the energy to stand tall and fight. As I said, animals can't fight for themselves. They need someone to stand in and fight for them. So you as a young, generation, you need to fight for the animals. And the animals will reward you. Remember, conservation or tourism, it's part of the muscle of the economy of the country. If we're not doing well in the tourism industry, the country suffers. Because the more things are going well, the more we are having a lot of visitors from outside. And those people, they're bringing money into the country. And that money, it's helping the country to survive its economy. So, and for us to do the job, we are helping in the best way to, make sure that the country survives, or the country, be able to be the country that we need it to be.
Yeah. Well put, Federick. And yeah, thank you so much again, and really appreciate you doing this. Cheers.
Thank you, John. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Rhino Man podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you're excited to see the film succeed, please subscribe, like, rate, and review our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Then follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Rhino Man the Movie. More details about Rhino Man, the social impact campaign, and future screenings are at rhinomanthemovie.org. To learn more about the Global Conservation Corps and their work, visit globalconservationcorps.org. Sign up for the newsletter and follow GCC on all of the social platforms. If you like this podcast, make sure to subscribe to and catch up on GCC's Voices of Nature podcast, where Bob Ludke interviews a wide range of people who have dedicated their lives to making a difference in conservation. A special thanks goes out to Simone Wilson for the music for this podcast. He is a brilliant composer for Rhino Man the Movie. Learn more about his work at simonewilsonmusic.com. Until next time, I'm John Jerko, and this is the Rhino Man Podcast.